Hey, it's George Foreman here. You make sure you subscribe to the Triple B.
Yes, Wagwan. Shalom, brothers. Salam. Now, I don't really get that excited about Canelo fights, weirdly, because, I'm not saying they're predictable, but everything's stacked in front of Canelo, yeah? That's not to say that he's not a good fighter. He's an excellent fighter, but you know what? All the PEDs, yeah, the weight clauses, the kind of he always has a really long camp, and then they suddenly announced the guy's fighting like 8 weeks before, and the guy has a short camp or something like that, 6 weeks before. They put every advantage, in Canelo's camp, and then there's the judges, obviously. One of them even had a draw for the gay weather fight. Now, I thought actually that fight was closer than what a lot of people said. They go, it's a masterclass by gay weather. They're just doing the usual thing of repeating what the commentators say. I thought Canelo won at least 4 rounds there. He just wasn't experienced enough at the time, But Canelo, the one thing you got to say about him, and I remember when I saw him when he was young, I thought this guy's good, but I didn't think he was going to be like that special. But he's like Ronaldo, the footballer Ronaldo, and I mean Christian Ronaldo, not the fat one, not the fat Brazilian Ronaldo. Christian Ronaldo, he just trains all the time. He'll stay overtime and train. He's such a perfectionist. His work rate, he's always in super perfect shape. It's the same thing with Canelo. He doesn't get fat between fights. He's obsessed. When you watch him work on his little moves, he really is. He's a top fighter, And who would have thought that a ginger guy, a ginger Mexican, would be the pound for pound best? Now, you can't dislike that. But, again, as I said, I kind of sad on him a bit because they just give him too many advantages. He's such a big money maker. Yeah, and he's got the weird Canelo, what's it called, the logo, the Canelo logo. It looks a little bit like an old secret society sign, isn't it? The little Calipers thing, or whatever it's called. Anyway, he's fighting this guy, Dmitry Bivol, who's from Russia. Yeah, he's, like Eurasian looking, People always think Russia is white or whatnot. Russia's a massive place, man. Look at it on the map. It covers such a huge amount of land. It's got so many different kinds of peoples in it. Yeah, it's quite typical of this kind of Eurasian look. But Bivol, he's a good boxer, no doubt. He's not really a puncher. Most, his big fights have generally been won on points. I don't even know that much about who he's beaten. Joe Smith Jr., yeah. Oh, Joe, big tough Joe. A couple of other guys, Lenin Castillo. Didn't exactly impress when he came over here to fight in the UK against Craig Richards. Richards gave him a decent fight. And this is not exactly a guy that's regarded as super world class. Bivol's got a good jab. He's a good boxer. He's not particularly exciting. He's got that kind of. He's got the permanently sad resting face, and he always looks a bit sad. Like his eyes are always tired looking. They're puffy, aren't they? Like tired. Old Bivol. And people are crying. Oh, he shouldn't be fighting because he's Russian, innit? Oh, come on with that thing, man. I don't. The whole persecute Russian people because there's a war going on that we've been told. Yeah, is evil Putin. All those stories of Putin every day, they make up different things. Apparently Putin's got some gangsters who are going to turn off ventilators, in English hospitals now because UK supports, Ukraine. Come on, man. People actually believe this nonsense? Every day it's, Putin's got dementia. He's dying of cancer. Reading the mainstream media, it's just like reading Private Eye. That's what you got to understand. And I'm not even joking. There's more truth in Private Eye probably because they outed, all the nonsense, and the MPs, people like Britain and stuff like that, Savile, they had outed these guys before subtly in their pages, But these mainstream media, it's just like a joke what they write. People that actually, you get them people and they sit in a pub and all they do is repeat what they've just read and they become experts. Yeah, especially on the virus thing. Oh no, what we need to do, Yeah, is achieve herd immunity. Yeah, what we got to do, and then blah blah blah. When that was the latest thing, and then obviously they changed the tune on that, and then these people in the pub start repeating the thing. Yeah, what we've got to do. Yeah, we've got to isolate a bit, and then by this time we'll be able to, all the back team will have been rolled out, and all the blah blah blah. I mean, it's pathetic how everyone becomes an expert. Yeah. Yeah, and you notice it when they have the Olympics as well. It's funny because there's all these sports that no one cares about or watches, like curling or hurling or whatever it's called. And then people are like, oh yeah, yeah. What they need to hold back a bit, and then they need to scrub the ice a bit harder. They suddenly become experts. All they're doing is repeating what they've been spoon fed, in the TV. And the media, and they get these alleged opinions. They're convinced it's their own independent opinions. It's the same thing with politics and with everything. That's these NPCs, which is a non-playable character. Look it up to see what it means, blue-pilled morons, going about evil Russia and good Ukraine, noble Ukraine. They don't know anything about the conflict. They'll just repeat what they've been, as I said, what they've been told to repeat. Anyway, forgetting about that. This is a boxing channel, as I say. But people were saying that Bivol shouldn't be allowed to fight for the title. Leave the man alone, for goodness sake. But yeah, Bivol, Canelo, it doesn't really excite me that much. I wasn't even sure it was. I kind of forgotten about it, really. I wasn't. He's a good fighter, Bivol. Good boxing skills. He's good defensively. He lands a lot of jabs. Taller than Canelo. I mean, I think it'll cause him problems. But ultimately, there's no way Canelo loses this, unless he would get stopped. Or if he got knocked down like 3 times or something, maybe, and it went on points. But all the close rounds are going to Canelo. Obviously. No one wants that cash cow to lose. If he generates billions of pounds of revenue, for the TV stations, for the promoters. You think they're going to let that guy go for some sad-looking guy, with tired, puffy eyes from Russia that no one cares about and doesn't draw flies to dog turd? Come on, man. Be serious, man. Bivol would have to give an outstanding, flawless performance to win. And I don't see that happening. I would say Canelo on points, probably. Canelo, he can hit, but he doesn't take risks, And this guy's big, a natural light heavyweight. So, I'm going for Canelo on points. I'll watch it the next day. There's no way I'd stay up to watch a fight like that. Anyway, some more boxing news. Now, as I've said many times before, the mainstream media is scumbagville. It's not to be trusted. They all repeat the same stuff from the 2 news agencies, Reuters and Associated Press. And repeat the same themes. They will push whatever degeneracy they've been told to push. And it doesn't matter what they are. The Guardian, the Telegraph, the Mail, the Sun, which is a real scumbag paper, as we know. They even hacked like the voicemails of kids that have been murdered. And people think the Mirror's better. The Mirror's no better. Piers Morgan put some clearly fake, was it some Iraq pictures of British soldiers torturing some Iraqis were clearly fake. I was like, looking at that, they look real. And now Piers Morgan's like one of the most well-paid. It doesn't matter. These guys bounce back. It doesn't matter what they do. They bounce back, man. Anyway. But it's always quite fun to look at these things to see what they're pushing and why they're pushing it. In fact, it's not even fun. You should do that. You don't trust them, but you think, what are they doing? What are they doing? What are they pushing? They've been the elitists. So they got this Tyson Fury story here. They've started to use Tyson quite a lot because obviously he's he's now, I think, he's sold out totally, and they've decided to portray him in a positive light, whereas before they were slating him, saying he was this, he was anti-Semitic, he was homophobic, he was racist, he was this and the other. But he's changed his tune a bit now. So we've got this article. We've got 2 articles in the Scum about Tyson Fury, right? So the first one is the Tipsy King. People make fun of my Tyson Fury tattoo, saying he looks nothing like him. I should have it removed, but I loved him. I love it. She says, so this woman, I mean, as if this is a news story, right? So this woman, and in one of the pictures, she looks quite pretty, man. Nice blue eyes, you know, slim, yeah. And she's got as a tribute on her arm. You know, she's got this picture, this tattoo of Tyson, inspired her to stop drinking and blah blah blah. Yeah, it's all very cute. I mean, the whole thing about tattoos, right? Is like what, you know, even 20 years ago, very rare to have tattoos. Now it's rare to find someone without a tattoo. You know, you look at all the boxers that are covered in tattoos. You know, the Muslim ones don't generally do it, yeah, because they're not allowed to have that etching on their skin. Now, actually, in Christianity and Judaism, we're not allowed either, but people ignore that. And a lot of the West are now, you know, secular. And you know, what is it about? Why were they encouraging tattoos? Well, there's two reasons, right? Yeah. So number one is for identification reasons. Obviously, you know, they'd love to be able to keep tabs on people. Now, with, you know, CCTV and things like that, with tattoos, it's going to be a lot easier to identify people and who they are, yeah, without even seeing their face properly, yeah. And the other thing is, it's they're deliberately pushing another anti-Christian thing. That you shouldn't have. You're not meant to etch stuff on your body. You know, people don't know that, but it's true. A lot of things like what you got to understand, and once you see this, once you see through this filter, you realize so much. So many of the agendas, why they're pushing it, the anti-Christianity, because the elitists are basically Satanists. Yeah? You might think this is far-fetched. So did I a bit when Tyson used to talk about it in the old days, but now I can see it. Firstly, all the biblical predictions are coming true, yeah? And they all push anything in the press that's anti-Christian, yeah? Sexual degeneracy, batty business, you know, down to tattooing. You might think tattooing's not that serious. Well, it's not like the worst sin, if you like. But it's bad for your body. You know, all them inks, they gather up in your lymph nodes and stuff and poison it, yeah? And they're ugly as well. And I had some tattoos done when I was young and stupid, right? But I wouldn't do it now, no way. And you see a girl with a tattoo. The girls are the worst tattoos. And why do people have someone come with a huge ship that's cost them about 500 quid on their shoulder? I said, why did you do that? Oh, well, I love travelling. I said, yeah, well, that's fine. You know, people love travelling, but why is it you got a huge ship? Oh, well, it represents, you know, travelling. I'm like, really? So you need to be reminded of that. Well, people have like their kids' names on it. I said, what, would you forget your kids' names and date of birth? No, of course not. So why do you need it tattooed? It's like a tribute to them, you know, it reminds me they're always there with me. You know, and they have a tattoo of Ngubu, you know, of their favourite footballer, Ngubu, on their chest. Oh, he's always with me, that Ngubu. He's been such a good player for us. You know, it's trivial, it's pathetic. Yeah. Oh, the girls go, something in Chinese. Oh, yeah, well, when I in my gap year, I went away, and I thought, you know, I want something that reminds me of it. You know, I really found myself. You know, come on, man. You know, you've been fed. You've been fed this stuff. Tattoos. When I was young, you'd see the only people that had tattoos, right, were real outsiders. Yeah. And squaddies and Navy people sometimes, or outsiders, you know, that were bums. They look horrible. They would, you know, they were unattractive to the eye, you know. And you've got to trust your natural intuition. That's one of the ugly things. But, yeah, like porno, what it does, if you see things again and again and again and again, it starts becoming interesting, and then it becomes, it sort of messes with your head, and you start to be interested in it, and then you start to want to indulge in these things. It's the repetition, boom, 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 showing you that thing again and again. I'm not hating against people who've got tattoos, but, you know, like I said, I got some, but we got pulled into this, so that we can be identified, so that we can waste our time, yeah, on cosmetic nonsense like this and caring about silly. Oh, look at my new tattoo, putting it all over like your face, but look at isn't it great, isn't it? Anyway, this John Fury tattoo is actually quite a funny piece. Because they rinse it out, right? They're saying this tattoo looks nothing like Tyson Fury. It kind of does, but you know, it doesn't. It's not perfect, is it? He's got, and it says like someone says it looks like Harvey Price with a skinhead. Poor old Harvey Price. Ross Kemp, boxer Alan Babbitt. Does it actually look like an Alan Babbitt tattoo? Actually, yeah. Someone says Boy George without his hat on. apparently, this stupid thing. But I don't know, man. I'm so proud of my Tyson tattoo. And that looks terrible, love. I'm sorry, sweetie. And you probably think it's great that now you're in the scum newspaper with your Tyson tattoo, your Harvey Price tattoo, or whatever. But yeah, truthfully, it does look like Alan Babbage. But anyway, it's another stupid scum story. Yeah, and they got another story about Tyson, linked to Tyson Fury. This is like with George Foreman. Yeah. Now, we all like a bit of Big George. Yeah. I always whenever I read these kind of stories, I'll be I don't even bother. There'll be nothing interesting that I don't know. Like Ali, what are they talking about Ali? Apart from the fact he was like nonce, which is something they don't like to tell you. Yeah. But like I said, his ex-wife wrote a book how he used to smash 12-year-olds when he was 30. I mean, that's not okay, man. Yeah. And his white grandson now likes to honour Muhammad Ali. If you notice, like, he doesn't like the fact he's so pale. He does sunbeds and braids his hair. So at least what he looks like is he looks like a sort of Paulie Malignaggi or something. But George Foreman. So, they said his real father, is Leroy Moorhead. He left his mum Nancy when he was little. He's brought up by his stepfather J.D. Foreman. So his name isn't actually Foreman. It's George Moorhead. Oh, I didn't know that, man. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I think it's nice that he took his stepfather's name. And you know what? And he came back, he saw a vision after a fight. Yeah. And he started screaming out, Jesus Christ, Jesus, come alive. And he became a minister. So I respect that. He had no money. And he come back to get money for the youth centre. Or that's the story anyway. I'm sure, he's not perfect. He wanted some of it for himself. He's made a lot of money with his grills and his comebacks, He's not perfect, is he? He's had 5 wives. He's got a collection of 40 luxury cars. Come on, man. That's conspicuous consumption. I'm not going to criticise him too much, but, what do they say? What do they say in Christianity? Why criticise someone for the bit of dust in his eye when you got a plank in your eye? Well, I mean, you can take that 2 ways. You can also say, well, George Foreman's got a plank in his eye too, man, because he's got 40 cars, 5 ex-wives or whatever it is. Yeah, 40 cars. I mean, yeah, I'm a bit disappointed with that. But he'll inspire some people. And you know what? Quickly, them ropes on Rumble and Jungle. I watched that a lot. They were definitely loose. And it allowed Ali to push out the way. I mean, was that the reason Ali lost? I mean, the thing is, Foreman, right, was kept in Zaire because it was cancelled after he got cut. Not cancelled, postponed after he got cut in sparring. And George Foreman, they took away his passport, forced him to stay in Zaire. He didn't want to be there. Yeah, he didn't want to be there. He was like, he wasn't happy there. They didn't like him because they liked Ali. Yeah, and he wanted to get home. He had a really bad camp. He didn't train very well. The sparring was poor. And he basically wasn't fit for that fight, and his head wasn't in it. But they definitely loosened the ropes. You watch that, those ropes are ridiculously loose, But that's not taking anything away from Ali's win. But basically, Foreman was not, It's still a great win, but he wasn't facing a peak Foreman, yeah? But yeah, so Foreman's going on about Tyson Fury, going, he's got to fight Gay J. Now, that's just interesting, because I told you in the news how they've been saying that a lot about Gay J in the news, saying, you need to see the Fury AJ fight. And I agree. To me, that's much bigger than Usyk Gay J. And I'd much rather see it. But obviously they're the elitists, the people involved know that Gay J would be put to the sword, man. He'll be outboxed, battered. Fury would humiliate him. Yeah, he's got a chance. Anyone's got a chance at a big shot. People can get caught. Yeah, people can get a bit old overnight, have a bad camp. It's not impossible. And I've always said Fury will humiliate the humble bot, batter him. And imagine the pleasure of watching the press conferences, the quotes coming out from Fury, rinsing Gay J out. That's as long as he goes back to the old Fury, not the sort of, not the quiet, lame one in the Dillian White build-up, but, he's got quite a fast mouth, Tyson. He would rip Gay J to shreds. Yeah. But then it would be, they'd be selling out Gay J, but you get a massive, they get like, I don't know what they get paid each. I don't know, man. But, 50 mil minimum, maybe up to 100 mil for this fight. Yeah. And so Foreman's pushing it, saying, yeah, we really need to see this fight. We really need to see this fight. He doesn't say anything particularly interesting. But let's have a look at this. Fury is taking a page out of Ali's book. He's the greatest show, and I think he's a good show, Fury. I mean, I don't think, I don't think Ali's the perfect man and the legend that everyone says, but I don't think anyone had the whole package like him in terms of the way he spoke, the way he fought, the political angle. I don't think that'll be repeated. But Fury, well, the problem is Fury's been stifled. Yeah, he was speaking out against elitists and stuff like that, but he's told not to. Some people say the same thing happened with Ali. That's why he got banned for 3.5 years. Yeah, because he was not doing what his masters would tell him to do. He was actually preaching certain things. He was preaching against. He called out the bankers. Yeah, what a surprise! He called out the bankers. You know what I'm talking about here. Yeah, and before you know it, you meant to fight in Vietnam. Yeah, just like Fury. He called out the bankers. What happened to him? They tore him apart in the press. Gang stalked him. Yeah, they said he should be banned from this, that, and the other. Yeah, so that's why I'm with Ali as well. They just stopped talking about him, and they let him crack on with his career. But that's for Foreman. So Foreman says, now we get to why is Foreman suddenly coming up, piping up with this? Well, he's got obviously a big film coming out about him, so it's like a press release. But you know what? No doubt the film will be nonsense. And they're always saying this. Foreman will turn his life around from being a mugger, a teenage mugger, to the world heavyweight champion. They're always saying, isn't that great? Isn't that great? Well, he was a mugger, and now he's world heavyweight. Well, first most people don't have that route. Most people don't have that route. They're not good enough. Yeah. So what should they? They're sort of allowing mugging. Oh, it's okay. He was poor. He's allowed to mug old people. I don't. They love that crybaby getter story, man. But it's nonsense. There's plenty of people come hard upbringings that work and it is. By the way, the odds are stacked against them. I agree. Yeah, by the elitists. But I don't think that is mugging people. Oh, we couldn't eat. There was lie. Even Mayweather, when he's got all these billions, hey, these guys trying to take food off my kids' tables. What a farce, innit, man? But so old George reckons that what we need to see is a gay Fury, and I agree actually with him. I agree with him. I'd like to see that. It's better than any other fight, And I want to see a gay Jay humiliated and put to the sword. And after that, when he retires, he'll come out. That's part of the deal, man. And he'll have to tell people. He'll come out, and before you know it, he'll be on every show. Gay Jay, how homophobia made me hide my true self and ruined my relationship with the AKA Skins. Yeah, he was the man I wanted. Yeah, but we split up because of the pressure and because we got rinsed out by a YouTube channel called Triple B and called out, so we couldn't marry. And I tried other men like Angel Fernandez,